Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another Second Breakfast podcast. I'm Andy Roth alongside Phil Duvall. Say hi, Phil.
Hello, Andy. And hello, nation.
This recently we celebrated the most important day on the calendar year. That being, of course, April Fool's Day. Yesterday, I can't
Andy,
even continue that joke. I hate that holiday so much. I hate it.
Andy, April Fool's Day is actually today.
Is it?
No, got you.
Oh,
I,
haha.
you
You
and I
got
both,
me.
I hate it. I tried to do an April Fool's on someone yesterday, and I felt dirty while I was doing it. And I was like just waiting for everyone to call me out so I could be like, I know, I was kidding. I'm sorry. I
No.
hate April Fool's Day.
I do want to give props to the one April Fool's joke on the internet that I have truly loved. I came to it after the fact, so I knew it was a hoax when I saw it for the first time. There is a movie website that I go to, joblo.com, joblo.com, and every April 1st they have a fake headline. And this one is Channing Tatum is playing He-Man in Masters of the Universe 3D, and that's fine, but whatever. But a few years ago, they had a headline that said David Fincher, Morgan Freeman, and Brad Pitt teaming up for the sequel to Seven, 8. And you know how seven is
Yeah.
stylized SE7EN, like
Yes, I do.
right.
Yes.
The 8 had, instead of the G, it had an 8, and they gave a plot synopsis, and it was amazing. It was amazing. Find it online, folks. You can. It's hilarious.
Doesn't Google do something every year? Like an
Yes,
April, I didn't look at yesterday. I don't remember what happened yesterday.
there was Gmail Blue, where it's Gmail except everything is blue.
Nice.
And Google Knows, where you can search by smell. And my response to that is those are both cute, but there's no way to think that those are real, right?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Um,
I don't know.
um,
I think the reason that I hate them, and this goes to our question for the day, the topic for the day. I think the reason that I hate them is that I fall for them, and I'm annoyed. And I know that other people think it's funny. Um, and this, by the way, is gonna sound super self-righteous.
I cannot wait.
But if you can please, for the love of God, not hear it that way, hear it as just me saying something about myself that isn't necessarily good or bad, just true. Like, I get really frustrated and mad when people aren't telling me the truth. It's that simple. Like, I know that sounds really like I know that that's just like, well, duh. No, really. I get really frustrated and mad. Like, I don't know why people like. I think you and I have always been very similar this way, which is like I think one of the places we've always met is in our sincerity.
Indeed.
Even when we're being sarcastic or being like whatever. Like if I'm being sarcastic and someone goes, "Really?" I'll immediately like, "No, not really." Like I am being sarcastic. Like
Right, yes.
I knew I had friends that would just hold on to it. I had or like my older brothers would always tease or would like make tell me things and I'm the kind of guy who I believed O.J. Simpson was innocent because he said that he was. And I was like, why would you lie about
Yeah.
that? Like, why
Yep.
would you lie? Well, you would lie to get out of jail, it turns out. But I just couldn't, and it wasn't because I didn't believe people did lie. I knew people lied, but not to me. Like, I don't know. It just, so I'm very, very weird about that stuff.
Yeah, it makes me sad. It just kind of makes me sad.
Yeah,
It's
April
like,
Fool's it's a terrible holiday for this very reason.
right, you could have spent that time improving the world, and instead you just tore something down.
Now, I
And I
have to
know.
say this. I think if I was better at laughing at myself, I can laugh at myself with you, like you and I joke, and I'll be like, I'm an idiot, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But I need to know that the person who's pranking me, I need to know they actually like me. Because what I see a prank is it's like, hey, guess what? We're all on the inside of something and you're on the outside, loser. And it's
Yeah.
really, and I know that there's like, you know, like we talk a lot about Mel Gibson, because we do the Project Melway. I know that he is notoriously a prankster on set, and that notoriously people love it. Like they're like, "Oh my God, that's hilarious." So I know there are ways to like do things that bring people together and make people
Yes.
laugh.
Yes.
But I think I'm too sensitive. I think I'm too sensitive, and I'm always like, "Are they laughing at me right now?"
That may very well be, and I think, and you could agree or disagree with this, and Second Breakfast Nation, feel free to tell me I'm wrong. I think I'm actually pretty good at laughing at myself. I think it comes down to, like any comedy, it's not like you literally can make a joke about anything.
Yep.
But it has to be good. It has like if
Right.
it's not good, if it's offensive or mean or cruel in some way, and it isn't funny enough
Right.
to deserve it,
Right.
then it's just that other thing.
This is why watching roasts, the Comedy Central roasts or whatever, it's always like when they have the comedians, and then they have like the actors, and like
Yes.
the actors are never like that good at it, and it's always like a train wreck to watch. Or
Yes.
you're just, I mean, sometimes when they pull it off, you're like, that was amazing. Like Cloris
Yes.
Leachman. I don't remember which it might have been Shatner, but I think Cloris Leachman, or it was either Shatner or Trump, but Cloris Leachman was on, and she just crushed it. And it was like, okay, we're in good hands here. But
Well,
like, you
I
get
mean,
all
Cloris
no,
Leachman.
yeah, she's the unsung. She's the Betty White is the poor man's Cloris Leachman. Let me just say that.
Absolutely. Let me put it this way. I would marry Cloris Leachman today. I would
Yeah.
not marry Betty White.
Yeah. No.
No.
Yesterday, not or even in the '80s. No,
Right?
I'm with you.
And I like her fine. But I like
She's
plenty
lovely.
of people I'm not
I
going to
know.
marry.
Betty White's gonna watch this and think that we don't like her. Betty White, you're great.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
just,
totally.
I think it's not my problem with Betty White. I think my problem is like American culture has done this thing where all of a sudden they're like, she's a treasure. She's an American treasure. And then she says like fart. And we all go like,
Right.
oh, she's
Right.
an old lady. And I'm like, do you watch Cloris Leachman at the age of like 90 just crushing it out of the park on Raising Hope week after week after week, and then gets on the roast and says just the legitimately raunchiest things, and just like in a way that's just like perfectly deadpan.
And
I
has been
love
doing it for decades.
decades.
And won an Academy Award for a non-comedic role.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
No, she's
Last
she's
Picture Show. If you ever feel
she's a
like
gem.
being depressed, see that movie.
Our friend Quentin, who will be on the show someday, he's like, that's like one of his favorite movies, his Last Picture Show, and I'm like, you live in a dark world, my friend. Like, is it cloudy where you are right now? It is, right? It is.
It's true. It's true. So we actually meandered close to the topic for the day and then meandered away from it again,
Somewhere
unsurprisingly.
over there.
So with pranking and fooling and funnin' in the national consciousness over the last couple days, we have decided to talk about movies that fool you or are designed to fool you, and whether or not they work, what they do to us, and I think I can start us off pretty broadly because they always fool me.
Yep.
I mean, always.
Yes.
M. Night Shyamalan, every time. Every time.
And when he doesn't, that's how you define it being like, you're like, that wasn't good because I wasn't fooled.
Exactly. When a movie, I can be the control group here in a lot of ways. Like I see it, and this might come off as pretentious, but I don't care. Because I see a lot of movies, I'm not the control group for movies, right? For
Right.
a lot of
Right.
because
You know
I
it to
can't
know
be-
things too well.
Right. I can't be the control group for a new zombie movie, right? Like if someone were to say, Andy, will I like this zombie movie? I wouldn't necessarily be able to tell them. I could say, here's why I liked it and here's why I didn't, and
Sure.
blah blah blah. But I'm too close to it, right? With movies that have a twist or movies that are designed to fool you in some way, I am absolutely the control group because I am fooled by everything. And so, as you said, when I am not fooled by something, you have done something really,
Yes. Yes.
really subpar.
Yes. Yes. I think I'm the control group for that as well. I also think I'm the control group for horror movies.
Sure.
But not for the reason you think. Um, if I'm actually interested in seeing it, then you've done something special because I just don't want to see horror movies. And so
Fair.
if I'm like, I want to see that, despite everything inside of me saying no. But yes, Andy named a couple of movies before we got started that are the famous movies of our generation, of like The Trick, Suspects, Fight Club, Memento, The Game, which is,
Yep.
by the way, The Game. If you haven't seen The Game with Michael Douglas and Sean Penn, see it. But if you're like me, you only need to see it once. Unbreak. I mean, every M. Night Shyamalan movie, right?
Yes.
But specifically Sixth Sense. Not
Yes.
everyone, but all the earlier ones.
Interestingly, and I really don't want this to become a talk about M. Night Shyamalan, but
No problem.
two movies, I think I have sort of the perfect example of what we're talking about, and also the exception that proves the rule, because one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life is The Village.
I believe you.
And
Bad because you knew what it was about beforehand, or bad because it was just a boring movie.
both. Both. He tried to do something involving a twist. He telegraphed the twist, and it was stupid. Like, total failure on every level.
Right.
But Unbreakable is without question my favorite movie of M. Night Shyamalan's. And I guessed it. Halfway through, I guessed the twist. Halfway through the first time, I didn't read anything about it beforehand. I was like, oh, this is what's happening. I get it.
Yeah.
And instead of like the twist was the Sixth Sense, it was like, that was good. I don't need to see it again. I'm good.
But Unbreakable you wanted. But Unbreakable is like, when you know the twist, you want to watch the movie again and again.
Indeed.
And I think that's because the movie's not actually about the twist.
Yes, that's.
I watched
that's
Sixth
fair.
Sense recently, and I think what a stupid word. The Sixth Sense. I think it holds up mostly.
Yes.
But I do think there's a problem with his movies, that it's just like, once you know, and I feel that way about all the twist movies, with the exception of Usual Suspects, which I just enjoy so thoroughly. I think that's another one, Unbreakable and Usual Suspects, because the way you get there is so much fun.
Agreed.
And I'd like to give Fight Club another chance. I tried once. I was so excited to watch it a second time. I
Right.
loved it so much, and I was like, "Wow!"
Right.
And I was watching it the second time, and I was like, I don't know.
Because I would put Fight Club in that category. Interestingly, i.e. the category, like, yeah, it's a little bit too much about the twist, but at the same time, it's so much fun getting there.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure. I think a lot of people feel that way, and like, I think a lot of people our generation are like, it's such amazing, like, commentary on our culture, man. And they're probably right. But I will say, when it comes to The Sixth Sense, did I tell you what happened to me with The Sixth Sense?
No.
Yeah, I had zero desire to see this movie. Like, zero desire. It didn't look good. I didn't care about it. It meant nothing to me. My buddy Wes, who I love, and he's a screenwriter now, but we were buddies in high school, and he always loved Bruce Willis. Like, he always had this thing for Bruce Willis, which I think is great. So I saw a lot of Bruce Willis movies with him.
Indeed.
But he was like, well, I'm going to see this movie. Now, what happened was, we hadn't hung out in a long time. He was off at college or something. We were busy and whatever. And he's like, I'm going to go see this movie. And he was like, it was the only movie that he wanted to see. It was one of those things where he goes, there's only one movie out right now that I'm going to see, and it's Sixth Sense. So if you want to come with me to the movies, this is what we're seeing. Okay?
Sure.
But what had happened was, literally the day before that, I was talking to someone. I cannot remember who now. And they were like, oh, man, this movie, The Sixth Sense, had this twist. And I was like, what was it? And they were like, I'm not going to tell you. And I was like, no, you don't understand. I am literally never going to see this crappy movie. Just tell me what the twist is. And they were like, are you sure? And I'm like, guys, this is not a movie I'm going to see. Just tell me what happens. And then they told me the twist to Sixth Sense. Well, actually, da-da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that's neat. Okay, whatever. Great. Go about my day, because I'm never going to see this movie, so it doesn't matter. So the very next day, Wes calls me, and he's like, well, if we're going to go to the movies, this is the only movie I'm going to see. So the entire movie I was watching, and I was like, I know already. I know. I know.
Awesome.
That being said, it's a really well-constructed film.
Agreed. Agreed. I think it's interesting, and I don't know if this says anything or if this is just coincidence, but even the movies in this category that I truly love, uh, I don't own any of them. I don't even own Unbreakable. I don't own Unbreakable, Usual Suspects, Sixth Sense,
I
Fight
bought
Club.
I bought Memento. This is back in the days when I was
Memento, I
just
don't own
freaking
it.
out. I bought it before
Mm-hmm.
having seen it,
Nice.
which by the way, it's the only movie I've ever done that for.
Nice.
So I bought it, never having seen it, on the strength of the word, and it was like, and it was really cheap, and I was stupid, and it was like, whatever, it's $10, meh. So I
Great.
bought it, and then watched it, and was like, that was amazing. I'm gonna watch it again tomorrow. Have not watched it since. Have not watched it, but I want to talk more about what it means, like to fall for it. I think you and I both, because I think the person like our director and I, we were talking with our director, and our director was like, are there movies that you're gullible about? And Andy and I started talking about it, and our answer could seem like a cop out answer, which is like, oh, we're gullible for all movies. I want to be clear. When I watch television, I never know who's done it. When I watch movies, I am one of those people. Like, I watch all the shows that people watch. I watch Game of Thrones. I watch Lost. I watch well, there's something on lately that people like. Walking Dead. But Lost was the big one. Lost was the one where people had 1,000 theories, and people were like, "Who do you think the others are? Where do you think they really are? Why is there a polar bear?" Here was me to the answer, and I love Lost.
Mm-hmm.
Love. And to this day, there's people who are like, oh man, that was a waste. I never had a backlash against it. I
Nice.
enjoyed it thoroughly from beginning to end. I cried like a baby at the last episode, and I woke
Mm-hmm.
up the next morning being like, love that show, Lost. So I am one of those people. The entire time, here's my answer to all those questions. Ready?
Yep.
Why is there a polar bear? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Who are the others? I don't know. I guess we'll find out next season. Where do you think they really are? I don't know. It's a pretty good story, though, right? Like, I
If
just
they
never.
if they want us to know, they're going to tell us.
And I mean, like, and I think I don't know why I am like that. I'm not even bragging about it. Like, I'm sure there's something to people who are like, I have 1,000 theories. I'm like, that's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that every time that I have a guess, I'm wrong.
Every time.
So, like, we were watching the before the season finale of The Walking Dead the other night. I was sitting around with my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, and my wife, and we were all sitting around talking about Walking Dead. And I was like, "Well, I clearly think that this guy's going to die in the last episode." And and by the way, you know who's going to do it? This other person's going to do it. I mean, I think they're setting it up for that. Within the first scene of the last episode, they were like, "Guess what? What you just thought is going to happen is not going to happen."
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
they didn't. I don't know. I was just like, well, okay. I guess not. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when Phil guesses. So it's not that I don't care. It's that I've learned that I'm not smart enough, and so I might as well just call it a day and enjoy myself.
That's actually, it's funny. I am the same way, and in terms of, I guess we'll find out. And it isn't bragging. It's just I'm so consistently wrong. Why would I bother guessing? Why would I allow that
Yep.
to ruin my day? Because
Yep.
it will ruin my day.
Do you have any?
Because I will be wrong.
Right. Do you have any friends that are really good at it? That are right?
I don't know for two reasons. One, everyone is better than me. Two, I really do TV watching, because I don't have cable right now and I watch everything streaming online. It's a very solitary experience for me, and
Okay.
so when I watch a show that I care about, it is not difficult for me to avoid spoilers, even from friends. You know
I
what
would say
mean?
in this generation of television watching, where everyone watches things for the most part at their own pace. I mean, it's actually, other than we have some annoying friends that as soon as they see something on Facebook are like, I can't believe he died. Or if they think they're not doing spoilers, they just go, not happy with you at all, Downton Abbey. Not happy with you at all. And it's like, how about just shut up? How about create a Facebook page you can go to, a group, and the moment you see something that you feel the need to share with the rest of the world, go to your little Facebook page group and go like, I can't believe that the person got their eye cut out with a spoon. Like, I don't know. Like, just do it. Like, I don't. But anyways, my My wife is so good at it. My
Really?
wife, my wife is always like, got it. I'm like, what? Just every, like, we'll be watching something and I'll be like, wait, wait a minute. Wait a minute, that guy's gonna shoot that guy. And she's like, yeah, figured that out 20 minutes ago. Like, totally, every time. She's like, you didn't. And my wife respects me and thinks that I'm smart, so whenever, which is silly, but she does. So whenever these things happen, she's always sort of like, I just figured we all knew that was, didn't we know that? We were all on the same page. I didn't know you were on the short bus today, buddy. She never.
Yeah. Yes. That is wonderful, and I am glad that you have that in your life for any number of reasons.
Yeah, it's probably really good for me in a number of ways.
Right? I never guess. I never guess. So I have stopped trying. I never guess correctly, I should say. So I have stopped trying.
I have two exceptions that I think you will enjoy.
Please.
One is, and we're going back to this guy, Shyamalan. The Happening. Because it was so freaking bad. And I mean, and by the way, I went to see that with a friend of mine who we wanted to give it a shot.
Okay.
And it had Marky Mark and Zoe Deschanel.
Sure.
And
I enjoy both of those people.
And the first 10 minutes of that movie, in my opinion, to this day, although I haven't seen it since, I was in. Like, I thought it was terrifying. When that woman puts a knitting needle up and just jams it in her own ear, you're like, no, that's not a thing. You can't. Like, wow. I was in. By the end of the movie, I was like, I don't care what it is. I don't care. And by the way, there's no spoiling this movie. It's so bad. It's the wind. The wind picks up these pheromones from the plants, and the plants are rebelling against humans and making them kill themselves. It's the worst thing. And literally, I was like, there's a scene where they are ready for it, and this is the second scene like this in a movie in the last 10 years. Running from the wind. Running. Here comes the wind. I better run before the wind catches up to me. The other one was The Day After Tomorrow, where the wind is super cold.
Oh, right. I was like, what
are we doing? What
is
doing?
The other movie?
Running from the wind. And I was just like, that's not a thing.
That might actually be dumber than running to escape explosions in.
Oh yeah, no, it is because at least running to escape explosions. I can't say it. Running to escape explosions is at least something that we like. We have now accepted it as a common plot. Like that's what people do in movies. They run to escape explosions. That's part of a movie. Like
yes.
That's why every wedding scene in a movie gets either broken up or something bad happens or it's crazy. Then you go to weddings and they're not like that at all. People just get married. Like, I have now performed several weddings. And do you know what happens whenever I say, if anyone sees any just reason why these two should not be lawfully married, speak now or forever hold your peace? Friggin' nothing happens.
Nothing.
Literally. Right. No, and like I'll say it and then just be like, and then move on. And that's it. Like, because nothing happens. Yeah. Every once in a while you do like the uncomfortable, like, but I'm over that now. I've done that once, and it's like now it's just like sometimes the groom will kind of like look around, but by and large nothing happens. And so like we know that when someone's running away from an explosion, that's just part of the deal. But running away from the wind,
yeah, it's no good.
First of all, can I say something about running away from the wind?
Please do.
You can't.
That's true.
It wins every time.
I'm no doctor. But I don't think you can run away from the wind.
No, you can't escape it. It's a terrible. So anyway, my point is with that movie, someone was like, "There's a twist," and I was like, I don't care. This movie just is so bad. But there's a no. I don't.
No,
I don't
care.
Doesn't matter.
I do consistently like those movies, though. I mean, they have to be well made, but like. And clearly there's something about the rewatchability of them. Even the ones I feel like I can rewatch, like Fight Club, there's something about the rewatchability of them that keeps me from buying them. Mm-hmm. I tend to, unless they are terrible, M. Night, I do tend to really enjoy them on the first go-round.
Yes.
Like the fact that there is a twist is actually enough to get me to like a movie.
I love to be tricked in movies. Mm-hmm. So long as I know what happens at the end, tell me what happens at the end. And it needs to be valid. Like, it can't just be like, oh, well, it was actually this guy, and there was just no evidence for that at all.
Right.
I mean, I like procedurals. I like TV shows like that. I like whodunits. I liked House because House was a mystery.
Yep.
But at the end, it was just about what disease it was. It wasn't about the butler did it. But it's the same idea, right?
Yes.
And I like having shows like that specifically, and not so that I can try to figure it out. I go the other direction. So I can literally just turn it off and go, some problem's happening on the screen. It'll get worked out by the end of the episode. And that's my favorite part. It'll get worked out by the end of the episode. Yes. It's like, our lives are filled with so much, like, stuff and, like, unresolved things.
Which is not resolved, yes.
That just, here's a resolution. So, Bones, I have not seen Bones in 3 seasons.
Okay.
Not because I stopped, like, there are shows that I stopped watching out of protest.
Right.
Bones was not one of those shows. Bones, when my wife and I first...
married to every show. There's just too much.
That, but I think a big part of it was, so we moved, and then we somehow forgot to start DVRing it, and we missed like the first 4 episodes of a season, and they were like important to the macro plot, and so I was just like, we're not watching until we catch up, and then we just never caught up, and now it's been 3 seasons, and so now someday we'll rent them on DVD or something.
Sure.
Bones was a show where generally within the first 10 minutes I knew who had done it. I didn't know how they'd done it. I didn't know why they'd done it. I didn't know what the whole thing was, but they would always introduce every single person that it could possibly be within the first 10 minutes. And it would always be like the person that you first suspected, but then dismissed. It was always that person.
Yes.
And so, like, I would watch Bones, and sometimes before the opening credits were done rolling, because now, by the way, opening credits go on for 20 hours. Like, throughout the movie. It's like 15 minutes in, and they're still, like, supervising producer. But I would be like, I'm right. But I'd be like, oh, it's the guy, he's the guy that runs the chicken farm. He did it. And, like, I don't, like, but I would still watch it. Mostly because of the chemistry between Emily Deschanel and David Boreanaz.
Sure.
Their chemistry is ridiculous.
Agreed.
I can't wait. Now that I'm talking about it, I can't wait to get caught up on 3 seasons of Bones.
Agreed.
Which is a ridiculous show.
I do want to talk about 2 TV shows by the way, can we discuss that, except for movies that are truly terrible that no one should see, I'm really pleased that we have steered clear of spoilers in this talk. Makes me happy.
Hold on.
Yeah, indeed.
Pat, for those who are listening, I'm patting myself on the back.
And I am joining
you. Can you hear it? Ow, patted a little too hard.
So there are 2 TV shows that I want to add to the discussion, and they're sort of, in many ways, they would not seem to be kindred spirits, and they aren't really, except in that they are not about the reveal, as it were. Okay. Veronica Mars.
Okay. And
Battlestar Galactica. In Veronica Mars, the first 2 of the 3 seasons of the show, there is an overarching mystery. Actually, in the first season, there's 2, and the reveals of the answers to those mysteries simultaneously are unbelievably shocking and make total sense. It's just an unbelievably well-crafted mystery. And if you haven't watched Veronica Mars, do so and thank me later. And then Battlestar Galactica, I won't get into how amazing the show is, except that it is truly one of the best shows I have ever seen. But one of the central conceits is there are robots that want to kill us, and they look exactly like us. Mm-hmm. And so over the course of the series, you find out, oh my goodness, this person is a robot. And there's not really any rhyme or reason as to when or how you will find out, but even when it doesn't make sense, and there are some reveals where it doesn't immediately make sense, and it's not a perfect show, so some of them never totally make sense, sure. But it is a very, very good show. So if nothing else, it always ends up making sense thematically, and that's really all I have to say about it. I think those are shows. Both of those are shows that I have rewatched more than once, as in the next time I watch it will be at least the 4th time.
So I think we're talking about television a lot on this episode, and I think I'm starting to develop a theory as to why that is. One is that, well, a couple of theories. One is that we just love television a lot and we don't ever talk about it, and it's a shame.
It's true. But that is true.
I think the other thing is, I think TV, we're getting into whodunits and we're getting into like reveals and things like that. I think TV is a much better format for this because it goes like because it's a less of a buy-in. A movie is at least an hour and a half. Unfortunately, movies these days are much longer, but an hour and a half to 2 to 3 hours. And
Yep.
at the end, if there's a twist, it better be amazing because that was your whole evening plus. If I go with my wife to the movies, it's $50, right? Like because it's like 12 or 13 or $14 a ticket. If we go to some fancy theater, it's like more. And then we have, that's 25 bucks. And then there's, my Diet Coke I have to get is going to cost me $8 for no reason. And I'm too stupid to go to Circle K and pick up candy beforehand.
Right.
Or you're going to go to the movies. So then I got to buy I mean, literally get a babysitter, all this stuff. I'm looking at $100.
That's true.
This movie better rock my face off. And if it's going to be about a twist, but TV shows, like I said, you can just sit there and you could. For some people who want to guess, it gives them a chance to guess and do all that stuff. For people like me, I can just turn off and, like I said, know that there will be a resolution at the end. And if I don't dig it, that's cool. There will be one next week. And I think there's something to that. Like the less of a buy-in makes it easier. Like you can buy in more fully in a simple way. Like, all right, I know that I've got giving this show, and by the way, we all DVR things now, so I'm giving this show 45 minutes of my life.
Right.
While I'm
Right.
on my couch with a drink in my hand and my kid is asleep.
Yep.
And like, if it's not amazing, there will be another one next week that's probably better. And if it's not that good, it didn't cost me anything, and I can switch shows.
That's fair.
But movies, it's like, what did you do to me? And from the perspective of the people who made it,
I wasted an evening. Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about Inception before this, and we both went on. Well, we weren't on the record because we hadn't started the show yet, but we both love Inception. Or you liked it a lot. I loved it.
I did. I loved it.
I am completely like when there's a backlash against Inception. I just ignore it. It's just no. It was a great movie. It was one of the great films of that year. It's probably the best action film of the last decade. We need to talk about that at some point soon.
Yeah, sure.
And I love it. Now that being said, that movie probably cost $150 million, maybe more. If you don't like it, or you don't buy into the twist or whatever you want to call it, I would probably be pretty upset if I were you, because like that's although who cares how much a movie costs,
Right.
like David Spade did this whole bit, and which I thought was always great, which he was like, Titanic was fine. It was like spectacular, whatever. It's a spectacle. And they're like, yeah, but it cost $200 million. He goes, yeah, but it still only cost me $10. Like, that would be a problem if it cost me $100 to see it, But he goes like, people will be like, this movie was only made for $100,000. And he's like, great. So then do I only have to pay a quarter to see it? Oh no, I still have to pay $10. Well, then let me see the movie they spent $200 million on, right?
Right.
Or like my buddy Jeff Evans, who's a Crimson Tide fan. He went to the University of Alabama, so he comes by it naturally. And when they first got Nick Saban, and apparently Nick Saban costs like millions of dollars.
Oh, millions of dollars a year.
Right. He goes, give him a raise. Ain't my money. Like, that's it. Like, who cares how much a movie costs? Just see it and enjoy yourself.
True.
That's
It's
a
true.
whole digression, but
I find it interesting. And I'm not sure what this says, because we started off this discussion, and I said that I see a lot of movies, and so I usually know where things are going, which is interesting because it's like my brain turns off if it is a movie with a twist. Like, if it isn't a movie with a twist, I'm like, I know exactly how this movie is going to end. Like, exactly. Yeah. But I am never right if there is a twist in the movie. Ever.
Nope.
Ever. Zero
Nope.
times am I right. Except for The Village, because it was terrible.
Yeah, I'm never right.
Yeah, and I find that interesting.
I go back to the literally. I saw I've only seen it once, but literally, I remember watching the game.
Yep.
And when it was revealed, I was, and I'm not kidding, aghast. I was like, because I was so emotionally invested in the film, and then I was just like, no, what? Like I couldn't
Yes.
fathom.
Yes.
And you know who could? Many other people.
Many other people.
Many other
Yes.
people were like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It
And I
does?
was like, I don't, nope, no, absolutely not. I don't know what that says. I don't know what that says because I don't always know that there's a twist in the movie. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Like,
I wasn't. Did you see the twist? I didn't know. Everything's a twist. Everything is a twist to me. I watch. People don't understand. Phil, why do you like movies so much? Because I watch them like a happy idiot. I don't have expectations. My expectation is that it be fun, like that I
yes,
enjoy it.
yes,
I don't go being like you better trick me. I It's a flat screen showing cowboys, and I don't live in 18th or 19th century Arizona, so I
yeah,
know it's not real.
it's true.
Like,
That's true.
you've got me already, you know? Just don't be chased by the wind, and we will be okay.
Right, indeed.
We have found my litmus test. If at some point in the movie you are running away from the wind and you win, you beat the wind, you have lost me. If there are baseball players coming out of magical dead baseball players coming out of a cornfield, I buy it.
Buy-in,
If they
total
were
buy-in.
chased by the wind, I would not buy it.
Indeed, indeed, totally fair. Uh, I think I'm done. I think I'm done discussing this because I think I think I think we've said a lot, and all there is to say is certainly in the moment. And I'm tired of being reminded how good I am at this game with most movies.
That's
And the
fine.
second you introduce a twist,
I'm like
I'm an
Andy.
idiot.
I'm glad you said that because I'm like a chatting Cathy doll. Just keep pulling the string, and we could do this show for 4 hours. So, like that scene in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, I just keep pulling my own string. So if it's time to stop, let's call it. Let's call it. I don't.
Yeah. So to sum up, everybody, April Fool's Day is the worst.
Yeah.
The worst.
And maybe if you don't like Mel Gibson, and by the way, are you watching Project Melway? Tomorrow's episode, Forever Young, is a phenomenal episode of Project Melway.
It's true.
But I want to
It's pretty
say to
great.
you that maybe, for people who don't like Mel Gibson, the fact that he does all these pranks, maybe that's just more proof of why he's the worst.
Indeed.
The only way to
Indeed.
find
See?
out is to tune in tomorrow.
That's right. That's right. We provide a public service, providing you reasons to hate people you've never met. Huh?
Yeah.
Right?
But again, I think if you tune into our Project Melway on a regular basis, you'll end up loving someone you have no business loving. Also, never
That
met.
is also true. That we discuss it. We're full on Stockholm syndrome with Mel Gibson right now. It's pretty exciting. Guys, tell us in the comments what you think. What movies totally surprised you? Let us know at secondbreakfastpodcast@gmail.com. Comment on YouTube. Ask us questions for the mailbag.
Yes.
And that's really all we have for you today.
But there's something else I have to tell you all.
What's that?
My name is actually Andy Roth, and that's actually Philip Duvall. Gotcha! Okay, sorry, I got nothing.
I got nothing.
Okay.
This has been another Second Breakfast podcast. I'm Phil Duvall. That's Andy Roth. We'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.